Hi, I'm Christy Bakke, the OSU Extension Service Outdoor School Program's Curriculum and Professional Development Coordinator. Outdoor School for All means every student in Oregon should have an opportunity to attend an outdoor school program that meets their needs, including students with exceptional needs. Within the special education community, the term exceptional needs describes students with learning difficulties, physical or sensory impairments, and or behavior needs who require specialized services, modifications, and or accommodations to their education to help them learn and engage in school. These students have a right to meaningful and supportive outdoor school experiences. In this video, I will describe how special education operates in K12 education and what this means for outdoor school. This video is intended for educational purposes, but near the end, I will direct you to our official guidance for district teams. Prior to 1975, youth with exceptional needs did not have the right to attend school with their peers. In fact, families were encouraged to institutionalize their children by placing them in full-time residential care facilities where they were denied access to an appropriate education and socialization with non-disabled peers. Students who were permitted in schools were often kept in special classrooms that separated them from the rest of the school community and failed to meet their individualized learning needs. On November 29, 1975, President Gerald Ford signed the Education for All Handicapped Children Act, which required all states that accepted money from the federal government to provide equal access to education for children with disabilities. In 1990, this law was amended and renamed the Individuals with Disabilities Education Act, or IDEA. IDEA has been revised and updated several times since 1990 and remains the major piece of federal legislation outlining requirements for special education services in public schools. IDEA guarantees a free and appropriate public education, or FAPE, in the least restrictive environment, or LRE, to students who qualify for special education services. In other words, we must ensure that students with exceptional needs are provided with meaningful learning experiences, FAPE, and that they are educated alongside their peers in the general education environment to the greatest extent possible, LRE. IDEA outlines a specific process for how these decisions are made. Each public school student who requires special education has an individualized education program, or IEP. An IEP is a legally binding document that outlines the strengths and needs of an individual student. This document is developed by an IEP team that includes special education staff, the family, and the student when appropriate. It's the responsibility of this IEP team to determine the appropriate level, intensity, and design of individualized supports to meet each student's needs. The scope of an IEP varies from student to student. One student may have an IEP that describes individualized supports for reading instruction only, while another student may have an IEP that outlines support across all content areas, such as reading, writing, and math, as well as social, emotional, and adaptive needs. The IEP document describes the modifications and accommodations that will be made to the student's educational experience to ensure that the student can learn and progress alongside their peers. It also includes data about the child's least restrictive environment, or LRE, for example, by specifying how much time per day the student will spend in special education and general education settings. If the student will not participate in some of the activities of their peers, the IEP team must explain why this is necessary. The IEP team makes determinations about a student's placement. Placement is a term used in special education to describe the environment in which the student's IEP will be implemented. When the IEP team makes placement decisions, they are trying to ensure that the student receives a free and appropriate education, FAPE, in the least restrictive environment, LRE. Placement varies for each student across a wide range of possibilities. For example, in a relatively restrictive placement, a student may require full-time one-on-one support from a special education teacher, aide, or paraprofessional, with limited participation in activities with their non-disabled peers. In a relatively non-restrictive placement, a student may spend all of their time with the general education class, with the special education teacher providing recommendations to the classroom teacher for accommodations to support the student. IEPs are reviewed at least once per year, with the IEP team reevaluating whether the student's current placement is still the least restrictive environment in which the IEP goals can be met. Next, I'm going to describe 504 plans. Both IEPs and 504 plans outline supports for students, but they are not interchangeable terms. Section 504 of the Rehabilitation Act of 1973 is a federal law that provides a broad spectrum of protections against discrimination on the basis of disability. All public schools and school districts, as well as all public charter schools and magnet schools that receive federal financial assistance, must comply with Section 504, and every district is required to have a 504 coordinator. A public school student who meets the definition of an individual with a disability under Section 504 is entitled to receive education services that meet their individual educational needs as adequately as the needs of students without disabilities are being met. Section 504 also requires, among other things, that a student with a disability receive an equal opportunity to participate in athletics and extracurricular activities and to be free from bullying and harassment based on disability. Section 504 has a broader definition of disability than IDEA. Under Section 504, a disability must substantially limit one or more major life activities, such as learning, communicating, or taking care of oneself. Section 504 does not contain a list of specific disabilities. IDEA, on the other hand, outlines a specific set of disabilities that could qualify someone for services, such as a traumatic brain injury or an orthopedic impairment. And the child must need specialized instruction or special education to make progress in school. Because Section 504 uses a broader definition of disability, a child who doesn't qualify for an IEP might still be able to get a 504 plan. 504 plans can also apply to students with temporary disabilities when the temporary disability limits major life activities. A Section 504 plan describes what services and accommodations a school will provide for a student with a disability. There is no standard 504 plan, though the Oregon Department of Education does offer sample forms that schools may choose to use. A 504 plan generally includes the specific accommodations and services a child will receive, as well as information about who will provide those services and who will ensure that the plan is implemented. A 504 plan is implemented by the general education staff compared to an IEP, which is implemented and managed by special education staff. 504 plans are typically not as in-depth as IEPs, and everything in a 504 plan can be included in an IEP. As a result, students typically have either an IEP or a 504 plan. Okay, so now that we've gone over some basics of K12 special education, let's return back to outdoor school. The OSU Extension Service Outdoor School Program provides funding to public school districts and education service districts, or ESDs, to support students' attendance at outdoor school as part of the school curriculum. Any specially designed instruction for students with exceptional needs at outdoor school is the responsibility of the district or ESD. For districts or ESDs that contract with outdoor school providers, the provider may play an important role in supporting and responding to the district special education team as they make placement decisions and develop accommodations and modifications for students attending outdoor school. The outdoor school provider may also implement accommodations during outdoor school in collaboration with the special education team, which has information about the specific needs of individual students. The OSU Extension Service Outdoor School Program has developed a special education and outdoor school team guidance document for district special education teams that includes information about preparing for outdoor school as part of IEP and Section 504 planning processes. Our special education and accessibility self-evaluation tool offers strategies for outdoor school providers to collaborate with school special education teams to support students with exceptional needs before and during the outdoor school experience. It also outlines characteristics of accessible and inclusive programs and teaching. Both documents are available on our website, outdoorschool.oregonstate.edu. These documents and this video are all in service of the same goal: every student in Oregon has a transformative outdoor school experience, one that is inclusive, meaningful, and high quality. Currently, approximately 14% of public school students receive special education services protected under IDEA, and most of these students spend 80% or more of their school day in inclusive general education classrooms. To serve all students, we need to move away from thinking, how can we fix this disability, and move towards thinking, how can we make our learning environment a place where all students can learn, regardless of their needs. As we work towards our goal of inclusive, meaningful, and high-quality outdoor school experiences for every student, collaboration and creativity will play essential roles in ensuring that students with exceptional needs receive the support they deserve at outdoor school. We encourage you to reach out to our team at outdoorschool@oregonstate.edu if we can help you in your work to make outdoor school more accessible and inclusive.